Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Brian.
Good morning.
Jessica,
Morning.
chat. We got some cameras coming on. Let's see some faces this morning. Justin, you all right? You look like you a little hungover.
Oh man,
Little Sunday fun day.
yeah. One of my girlfriend's friends or whatever, their son had their first communion, and they had a big party in Myers Park last night, and they got a little carried away.
Nice. Sounds fun.
Yeah, so yeah, not feeling great this morning, but
That's all right. We'll get through it.
it.
I know 2 people aren't going to be on today because they are traveling on vacation. How many's been on here? Is it normally just kind of like around five or 6 people?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, plus or minus.
Hey, Nelly.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian.
Maybe there's typically one more person in here. I can't really think of who it would be right now, but
Yeah, I know Jasmine is traveling to Jamaica at the moment.
no, I'm jealous. Must be nice.
We'll go ahead and get started. Everyone else have a good weekend besides Justin?
Good, but not to that degree. I hosted my first open house, so that was fun.
Nice. How'd that go?
It went really well. The house went pending same evening, so
Nice.
productive. Yeah.
Nice. Was it
And then I got
was it your
what was
listing?
that? No, I was helping another agent, but I did get a potential listing lead from there.
Perfect.
Nice.
That is why open houses are great.
Yep.
Jessica, how did yours end up going? You did a couple this weekend?
I did one the same house Saturday and Sunday. Saturday night he got one offer, but he was going to review all offers and make his decision this morning.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it was a good turnout.
Yeah.
I didn't end up with any leads. Everybody who came in had an agent. So, but it was good to get the experience.
For sure.
Yeah, and then I had one showing last night.
They go well?
We didn't particularly care for the property. It wasn't what they were looking for.
Gotcha,
So we'll
okay.
keep looking for that client.
Gotcha. Brittany, you had an open house as well, right?
She muted.
I'm here, I promise.
There
I did.
you go.
I had an open house on Saturday. About 6 people came in. It was under contract yesterday morning, so.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Camille, that's who we're missing.
Good morning, Camille. How are you?
Excuse me. Good morning, you guys. How's everybody doing?
Good, good. Everyone but Justin is doing just PT this morning.
Oh God, what happened, Justin?
Somebody did Sunday fun date a little too hard.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Camille also had an open house yesterday. It was actually for one of my listings. Unfortunately, we didn't get a lot of turnout.
No,
No, unfortunately, but the house is beautiful and I know the area really, really well. So I'm a little surprised, but I'm definitely going to send it to a lot of people that I know, other realtors, and I'm going to go back through my contacts to see if anyone's interested.
Gotcha.
where was it?
It's in Huntersville. I've exit 23.
Really? That's a hot spot.
Mhm.
It is, and it's a beautiful house, right?
Yeah, it's definitely really, really nice. And it's the corner lot. The neighborhood is amazing. So I mean the house is amazing itself. It's fairly new. It was just built in 2017, so still pretty new.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous house.
Huh.
If it's still available, if you want to do another one this weekend, Saturday or Sunday, let me know. I'll set it up again and put it back in the MLS.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the issue with that one is the tenant who was in it, which it's fine to sell a house with a tenant in it, of course. But this tenant had an issue with the property management company and was refusing showings. So we turned down about 40 showings in the first 2 weeks.
What?
And as you'll see as we go through the slides today, one of the most important things is price, because the more time you collect, the harder it is to sell. And even though we were priced correctly and aggressively at the time, we collected all those days because nobody was seeing the house. And that was tough. So even though the market is phenomenal for sellers, we're sitting on the market at a month now, because nobody's been able to see it. So I was hoping that open house would bring a lot of people out, but we'll set it up and we'll do it again next weekend and hopefully we'll get it sold. Kiswana, are you there? I think she's still connecting.
Yeah, I was talking to a guy yesterday a little bit about real estate, and he was saying that a friend went to try and buy a house and got outbid by 90 grand.
Mhm. Yep.
90 grand.
Yeah, that is not uncommon. And I'm guessing your friend was at full price or offer or higher.
Yeah, I think he offered 15 to 20 above offering, and the seller's agent was just told him, unfortunately, you are so far out of the ballpark that that's not even going to be close.
Yeah. Yep.
And he couldn't match it. He was not able to match it.
Jessica, are you still there?
She bounced.
Yeah, getting outbid is definitely kind of crazy. I went through some of the offers that I wrote up a couple months ago just to see what they sold for. And one of mine that we had offered on went for 75,000 over the asking price.
Oh my God, that's so much money. That's wild.
Yeah.
That is a lot.
Yeah, it is. It is about how you price it to start with. And that's literally exactly what we're going over with. That's why I want to kind of bring that up, just because
Oh, cool.
starting your price really high is a bad idea. But if you price it correctly, not only will you sell it quick, but you'll sell it for a lot over because you get more people bidding on it. And that's kind of what you want in this market. And Jessica, when you mentioned that yesterday, as to that house that you wanted to look at had any offers, I would imagine that every house that you're going to see is going to have some offers on it. So you don't really want to advise your client not to see anything if it has an offer on it already. It's just a matter if they really love it, how strong you go in. So that'll be something for you as you move forward. This client is like just how aggressive do we go on our pricing? How long has it been on the market and things like that. The one on Saturday was just unfortunate because they had already accepted something. And both parties already agreed to, they both already accepted it. So they didn't feel comfortable
When I said, should I call the listing agent, see if they have any offers? That's really what I meant, is kind of like the situation from Saturday. Have they accepted anything?
Yeah.
Like, is it worth going to look at? Is really like what I meant to ask. I just didn't
Right.
properly.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's the case a lot of times. If you schedule something a couple of days out, I mean, a lot of times I am going to message the listing agent, be like, hey, like, is it worth me going out there? Because sometimes
Right.
agents will accept something and they won't update the MLS for a day or 2 or 3 days. And you scheduled your whole day around a showing that's 45 minutes away, and you get out there and you get an email while you're there saying this was under contract, and it happens. So yeah, that's definitely not a bad idea. But all right, everyone can see my screen here. Welcome to Rev Up. Let's see if we can get this to work here. Oh. So today we're going to talk more about finding sellers, and then also getting ready for the listing. So just some of the basics of how to find your sellers, customizing your listing presentation, which we'll email out to everyone. If you haven't already seen the listing presentation or started kind of creating it by yourself, we'll get it emailed out today, so you guys can kind of put in your own stuff in there, and we'll look at that briefly as well today. The listing process itself, how to qualify your sellers, and then a pre-listing questionnaire, which is a little different than how I do it, but we're going to go through it and let you guys take a look at it. Has anyone on here been on the listing side before? I know Camille has. Nelly, have you done?
I haven't.
No.
This would be my first appointment to go to.
Gotcha. Okay. Are you excited? You ready? Are you ready to walk in there and close it?
Always.
Okay.
It's actually
okay.
a funny story about it, because I did door knocking in the neighborhood and this lady did not open the door. So I tried talking to her through the window, and she just said, no, thank you. And I'm like, okay, fine. So the following day when I was doing the open house, she came out when I was packing up, and she's like, hey, excuse me. I'm like, yeah. It's like, you can't stop by my door. And I really couldn't hear what you were saying. What was it that you wanted? I'm like, I was just trying to invite you to the open house. She's like, oh, sorry, my dogs were barking, I couldn't hear you. And so she ended up just chatting away, invited me into the house. We already did a walkthrough, and so I'll call her today
Wow.
to set another appointment up.
That's great. And
That's awesome.
you've already brought that wall down. You guys have already had 2 interactions. You've already seen the inside of the house. So
Yeah.
And built some of that rapport. So that should be hopefully a good start.
Yeah, I hope so too. She will need some hand holding, because she's kind of, she's not 100% sure that she wants to sell, and she doesn't have a place to go, but she's not on the offense, so it'll take some massaging there.
Right. And you'll get that a lot. And all you guys are going to get that is yes, I can sell my house for a lot right now, but where am I going to go? Right.
Yep.
At the end of the day, selling your house right now is still a great idea, even if you buy another house that's more expensive, because you have all that equity, right? So you're able to put 100, 200, 300,000 in your bank and get another house. And also a good thing to tell people that aren't 100% sure, Nelly, is it doesn't hurt to listen and see what we get, right? If you don't get any offers that you don't like, we don't have to accept it. And that'll sometimes take a lot of pressure off of people who are kind of on the fence of listing. But again, you really got to get that listing before you can, move forward. So that is a pretty common objection right now is I would list, but where am I going to go?
Right.
So let's get you on the market, see what kind of offers we can get, and then we can find out what we can buy. Yeah. So there's a lot of reasons for working on the listing side. Does everyone have a preference? I mean, does everyone, I know everyone's probably works with buyers for the most part, but does anyone have a preference on working with buyers? Show of hands. No. You want to think they have a preference on working with listings?
I think that's the direction I want to head into.
Yeah. I mean, you know, a successful agent's going to work on both sides, obviously. Everyone kind of typically goes in one direction, more of a buyer's agent, more of a listing agent. There are definitely a lot of benefits on the listing side right now, just because if you have the listing, you know, the market is so strong, you kind of hold all the leverage. It's also greater control of your time, like you see on the screen right here. And what that means is versus a buyer where you're having to do a lot of showings, and those showings can be whenever they want to see the house, right? Versus if you get the listing, those agents are going to your properties, right? And you're not going to showings on your own properties. It's great for reputation when you're selling houses. You can handle a lot more volume, right? I mean, I can handle 10 listings at a time. Camille, can you handle 10 buyers at a time? I mean, you probably could, but it's a lot, right? I mean, if you got 10 different buyers pulling you 10 different directions to see 10 different houses a week, it's a lot. But on the listing side, you can do that because, you know, once you get the listing, it's really just, you know, managing showings, right? Getting those approved, negotiating offers, and then getting them through escrow. So you're able to do a lot more volume on the listing side if you can get the business. And then another good thing is oftentimes people that are selling their house are also buying a house, right? So you're oftentimes kind of doubling your business just by getting that side of it. So.
How often would you say, if you're listing one of your clients' house, that they also use you to buy another house?
I would say probably 50% of the time. I mean, if they're buying another house, if they're buying another house, they're always going to use me. But there's a lot of reasons. I mean, people are downsizing, or they already have another house, or this is a vacation, you know, or it's a rental.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but typically when I'm meeting with them in my listing appointment, I'm asking them, you know, what their next step is, and I'm going to go and have them sign the buyer's agency agreement while I'm there, while they sign the listing agreement. So I'm gonna go and secure both sides while
Nice.
we're there.
Okay.
So this is just kind of a sphere of, you know, how you're going to get your business. You're motivated sellers. Obviously, you're the closest group, your people around you. Like Nelly just did door knocking. You know, that's a great idea when you have an open house. You know, knock on the neighbors' doors and see if they're at all interested. Life events. I mean, going to church, going to, you know, parties like Justin went to yesterday. Great way to meet new people. Referrals are obviously.
I know. I need to get my headshot done because I could have gave some business cards out yesterday to see.
I'm just waiting on them. Obviously your circle of influence. You know, I posted something for that open house yesterday. And I put it on old Snapchat, and I never use Snapchat, but I had 2 people reach out and say, I didn't even know you did real estate. I'll call you next week. Right. So just little things like that help. And that's why we talked about last week, like social media, like you're not bugging your friends. Don't do it 20 times a day, maybe, but like, let them know, right? Especially for new people. A lot of times they have no idea that you do it. And if you're consistently doing it, it might be annoying for me for a month or 2, but maybe month 3, I actually need to use you. And because I see you there, then I reach out to you, right? So you not only need to be on there, but you need to be consistent with it. Expired listings for sale by owners. I've made a living on those too. I mean, I've probably taken 100 listings just since COVID on expired and for sale by owners. So I mean, it's out there. It is very competitive, but it's a phenomenal way to get listings, because you think about, out of all the circles on there, the expired and for sale owners are already trying to sell, right? For sale owners trying to do it themselves. The expired is just came off the market. Obviously wanted to sell. They obviously didn't have a good experience with their previous agent. Now you can step in and show them why you're a better fit for the job.
So can you go on the MLS and just see an expired listing and just click on that and contact the person?
That's literally what a lot of people do to start their day every day. So what's new, what's expired. For sale by owner, I mean, you can go on Zillow, you can go on forsalebyowner.com and look at that stuff and give them a shout. It can be tough, but it's doable, right? It only takes one client, right? So it's definitely worth the calls.
Okay.
So we'll get into a little bit more about like your scripts and your presentation, but you know, Nelly, for your appointment, as you're getting your presentation ready, like it doesn't need to be the first time that you've done it, right? You wanna have that presentation down pat. So when you walk in and go over what you bring to the table, why they should work with you, it should feel like you've done this before, right? And typically what I'll do is have my agents rehearse their presentation and then do it to me, right? Like, give me your entire 20-minute presentation and see how it goes, right? So we'll get into that and show you kind of how the presentation is set up, and you guys can customize that. Prospecting is fun, right? It's a lot of getting ready, and just like you just mentioned, I mean, you know, finding the expireds, right? Finding the forcible owners, prospecting for a couple hours, and then follow up. You know, for my agents, you know, we use Follow Boss for CRM. And again, you know, every lead that's in there, you guys should be touching them basically weekly, if not some of the hotter ones, 2 or 3 times a week, right? But you know, getting a schedule together where, you know, maybe Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, I blast the phone from 9 to 11, right? And then Tuesday, Thursday, I'm meeting with clients in person, all right? Whatever works best for you, but getting yourself a schedule is the best way, because it is so easy for me to sit here on my computer and not prospect. The next thing I know, it's almost lunchtime. I'm a fatty, I'm gonna eat for an hour. The next thing I know, it's 3 o'clock. All right, it's time to go to the gym. And next thing my day is over and I haven't prospected at all, right? But holding yourself accountable and setting that schedule is really gonna help you guys be consistent. And then setting goals. You know, we kind of talked about this last week with some of you guys, that set a goal of meeting with one new person in person a week, right? It's a pretty safe goal to start with, right? It's not out of the realm of possibility that each one of you guys can meet with one new person every week, right? Maybe your goal is different. Maybe you want to make 100 phone calls a day. Maybe you want to just set 2 phone appointments a week, or whatever it is. Write what you want to do and try to do it every single week, right? Brittany, you all right? You need one of my special bang drinks.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Preparing to win the listing. So we have the listing presentation. Has everyone seen it before?
I don't think I have.
All right. Haven't got to some of that with some of you guys. So this is one of the presentations. I think it's the same one that I use. Let's see if I can get it to. So you guys will customize this, and you can see over here we can make some changes for the most part. The first couple of slides, I mean, obviously you're going to put your name here, and you can edit this and change this. So when I'm in front of a client, I have my notes, right? Everything about the house, who I'm meeting with, kind of where I think it needs to be priced. I have my comps ready to go, and then I have my listing presentation. So those 3 things are on my computer, ready to pull up instantly at every single appointment I go to, right? Your listing presentation should be something that you know frontwards and backwards. You can recite inside and out. There's gonna be times where, you know, they want to start at the marketing. There's gonna be sometimes they want to start with who you've worked with in the past. So you need to know it frontwards and backwards. And there's gonna be times where you get to do it on the kitchen table, which is the most ideal place to set up your computer and give them your presentation. But sometimes you're on the couch with 3 kids running around like crazy. Sometimes you're in the back of Bubba's pickup truck trying to pitch them that way, right? It's always different. So knowing your presentation inside and out is going to help you guys so much. We'll run through just real quick. We won't get into too much of the specifics. And you guys can spend some time kind of going through it. Obviously here, this is kind of about you. You know, you're going to put your pictures in these 2 slots and then enter some information about yourself here.
Okay.
This is probably your headshot right here, right? And then kind of again your bio. You know, in here I have something about I've taken 100 listings since COVID. I'm a listing specialist. Like, not only do I sell your house fast, but I sell for on average 109% over list. You know, just kind of like some stuff. And when I'm going through it, obviously the pictures capture, right? I think on this one I have like a picture of me holding my son. They're always like, oh, right? Like you want them to like kind of be drawn into you, right? Like I know what I'm doing. But yeah, I mean, if you don't have a baby, put your, some pictures of your dog and some of your personal stuff, and like you want them to feel like you're human, not just some kind of salesperson coming out there to earn their business. So add as much in there as you can. Marketing strategy, I mean, you can kind of leave this kind of the same. Maybe you change some stuff. First impressions. I put some pictures in here that I've had my photographer take on some of my properties. In the same thing in some of these. I think I usually skip home staging because I don't usually stage because for the most part, except for the open house for this weekend, they normally don't last that long. But maybe that's something that you guys end up doing. Determining the price and preparing to sell is a very important part. And this is where you want to make sure that you're hitting it every single time. The price that you listed at is going to determine the time that you're on the market. And this chart is probably 2 years old by now, at least. It's basically saying that you have 2 to 4 weeks of peak time. Honestly, in this market, it's probably a week and a half, right? Before people are calling me like, what's wrong with your property, right? So pricing is everything. So if you look at this chart, and this chart was done by the National Association of Realtors, and basically what it says is if you price your house right here at fair market value, you basically capture 60% of the buyers in the current buyers pool, right? Which is the ideal number, right? What's crazy is just pricing it 10% over is you cut that number in half, right? Going even higher, that number goes down to 10%. So when you price your house over that much, I'm a great agent, but I can't even sell your house, right? If I'm only going to get 2 or 3 showings in 6 months, I'm not going to be able to do that job, right? On the flip side, if you underprice your house, you actually capture more of the audience. If we go 10% low, we got 75%. If we go 15% low, we get 90%. Mr. and Mrs. Client, I don't think we need to do that, but I think starting at fair market value is going to give us the best opportunity to not only sell quick, but give us the chance to sell for over, right? And that's kind of what I'm pitching to them, right? So when you're going through this, a lot of homeowners want to start really high, right? That's kind of the old school way of doing it. Let me start at 500. I'll get an offer of 400. We'll meet in the middle of 450, right? People don't do that anymore, right? It's millennials buying houses. It's price per square foot. Everything is on the internet, right? So if your house is overpriced that much, people just aren't going to come out and see it, right? So by pricing it either correctly or a little bit aggressive, not only will you get a lot more people, those people will bid on it and actually end up bidding higher than what you wanted to start at, right? So getting more offers is always going to put you guys in the best position to sell for over and make you guys look like the hero, right? Obviously, I want all you guys going out there and take as many listings as possible. What you'll find though is taking overpriced listings is going to make your jobs very, very difficult, right? So if you have an overpriced listing, what do you have to do? Price reductions, right? And those conversations are not fun with clients, right? Because now they're like, well, what are you doing? What are you doing every day? Why isn't my house selling, right? Versus if you would have priced it aggressively and you're sending them 5 offers a day, right? Like you look like a hero, right?
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you hit these 2 slides hard, right? Kind of what I'm doing this one is you have a couple weeks of peak excitement. Once we get past that first couple weeks, you can't get that energy, excitement, enthusiasm back in your listing, right? And I'll ask them, I was like, what do you think a buyer's perception of your house is the longer it sits on the market? It doesn't go up, right? It goes down, right? And you get them to nod to that and say that. So when you go through these 2 slides really well, after your listing presentation, you guys are going to get into price. And hopefully they remember these 2 slides and they're okay bringing the price down, right? That's kind of what this slide is in there for.
Okay.
Let's just talk about who's buying houses these days. We want to talk about the exposure that we get them, and we end up putting these people on hundreds of websites, right? So people are excited to hear that we're not just going to put them on Zillow and the MLS. They're going to be on hundreds of websites. obviously social media, our app. And then you can put, again, your personal stuff is going to be in here. Again, if your personal social media page is, you post a bunch of crazy stuff, maybe don't put that one here, right? Maybe just post your business ones, right? Whatever you do is fine, but just put the ones you want them to see, right? And this is just let them know that we're not just some little local 5-person company, that we're an international company with over 18,000 agents. For this part, for you newer agents, if you don't have people testimonies, just end it here, right?
Okay.
Just stop there. So look, I think you got the picture, right? After seeing everything that I've shown you, do you feel like we're the right company to work with, right? And go ahead and get that post close and then move on to your pricing. There's a few more slides in here. This is just kind of your next steps. You're doing the CMA. We're going to find the right price. We're going to sign the listing agreement. We're going to start the marketing. We're going to put the lockbox on and put the yard sign in. So, and I mean, some of these slides, you can cut these slides out if you don't want to use them. I mean, it kind of goes on and on here at the end. They're just kind of like blank, right? I've just deleted all those, right? If you have more stuff in there that you want to put in there, by all means, do that. That's up to you guys, but just kind of stop it where you feel like you've done enough. But again, these 2 slides are, a lot of times I just kind of scroll through my personal pictures so they can get to know me a little bit. And then I focus on this slide. And this is a very important slide for you guys. Yeah, we'll get that sent out to everyone so you guys can kind of look through it.
Cool, thank you.
This one. This one. So you're going to have clients that are not a good fit, right? Camille's shaking her. Sounds like, I mean, the old guy that we met with last week, I mean, on some days I would have been like, yeah, I'm just not going to work with this guy. Me and Camille went on a listing appointment last week, which we signed, we got. We were there for what, 2.5 hours?
Yes.
This guy,
Damn.
I told her this last week, but we would still be there right now if I didn't cut it off. Like he would have had us move in. Like this guy could have talked forever. And it was just kind of one of those things of just managing his stories. And then every now and then I'd mix in some real estate. Then I'd let him tell another story, then be like, sign right here. So that's kind of how it was. It turns out that it's probably not going to work out on the listing side, but I think we're going to get them on the buying side. But there's going to be just sometimes you go out with a client that just has unreal expectations. And even though you probably could get them on paper, if it's not going to be a good fit, a bad client will a lot of times keep you from getting 3 new clients, right? Again, we're not in the business of turning down business, but if it's somebody that's going to bring you down and cause you stress, it's probably not worth it. And Camille, I know you have a couple escrows that are stressing you out, right? Like that's, and I'm not saying those are bad clients, but I mean, that stuff can take away from you getting new clients, right? And in this building, in this business, it's a pipeline business, right? You put one in escrow, you put another one listing, right? You need to constantly be getting new clients, and anything that's going to keep you from constantly getting new clients, you kind of want to shy away from.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that doesn't happen.
That's going to stress you out. Like I've been stressed out all weekend. Sometimes it's honestly not worth it. Yeah.
But the escrow stuff can be a little bit different, but yeah, hopefully, and we can chat about that, your escrows when we get off here. Hopefully we can get them to the closing table this week. Listing process, step 1, pre-listing questionnaire, qualify the seller, set the listing appointment. Step 2 is doing the comps, drive the neighborhood, and review the comparables. So they have in here kind of set up like a pre-listing questionnaire to the seller. Can you guys read these questions?
Yeah, I can see them.
Okay. Are you the sole proprietor? How long have you lived here? When are you looking to sell? Do you have solar? How old's the roof? These are a lot of questions that I get in person when I'm sitting in front of somebody. You know, if this is a phone, I'm talking to these people over the phone for the first time, asking this many questions is typically going to end up with getting hung up on for me. So I'm more of setting the appointment, let me come out there, and then while we're doing the tour of the house, kind of figuring a lot of the stuff out. But these are all great questions of what you'll need to know before you're able to list it. Because when you're listing the house, you're gonna need to know a lot of the stuff, filling it out as you put the listing live. This is a pre-listing questionnaire that you can have them fill out before you get there. And again, I'm going to send this guys to you in a PDF. And then this is an email that you can send them before you get to your listing appointment. Just kind of giving them expectations. Enclosing some information I've gathered about your home. I've also included information about myself and my company and the listing contracts for you to review. Please feel free to review of any enclosed information ahead of time. And note any questions you may have. I look forward to answering any questions and reviewing this information during our call on our appointment at blah, blah, blah. By the way, here are a few things you might want to have handy: a spare key for the lockbox, which is always nice, a recent mortgage statement, HOA information. If it's a trust or LLC, they're going to want to have that information. Again, this isn't something I necessarily do. Once I set the appointment, I kind of leave it at that and just show up at the house. But if you can get all this in advance, obviously that's phenomenal. And have them prepared and ready to meet with you. You definitely want to have the HOA stuff. The mortgage stuff is good. You know, again, that's going to kind of come out in escrow, right? Once we accept an offer on that house, the attorney's going to reach out to their mortgage and get their payoffs and all that good stuff. A spare key you're definitely going to need, right? And I carry typically 5 lockboxes in my car at any time. So if I get a listing, if I can go ahead and get pictures, put up my sign and put a lockbox on while I'm there, shoot, I may never go back, right? But having that setup is really nice, and especially the lockbox, because if I'm not doing the pictures, if it's a house that I'm going to have my photographer do, if I go ahead and put the lockbox on, when my photographer comes, he has a way to enter the house, right? In case my sellers aren't going to be there. So always a smart thing. Camille, when we were there, that's I had Camille take pictures while we we're at that listing last week. We got everything signed, shook hands, and we went in and took pictures before we left. We didn't do a lockbox just because this guy never leaves his house, because he talks so much he doesn't have time to leave his house. But yeah, if it had been a situation where they come and go, we would have left the lockbox there and did that. And that's kind of it for this one. I mean, a lot of it is just being prepared for your listing. Again, I do my notes a little bit different. The listing presentation should be fairly similar for everyone because we're using the same script. But everyone does it a little bit different. This is a seller's guide that we have as well, which is good to show your people. 4 keys to selling your home: price, marketing, condition, availability. I just show them that they're going to get maximum exposure, not just Zillow, but they're getting on Craigslist, on homes.com, on realtor.com, Instagram. There's a million different sites, and do a lot of people find our houses on Craigslist? No, but if it's that 1% that happens to find it from there, it's worth it, right? And you'd be surprised, some people that's the only place they look. Some stuff you can do before it goes live. Active on the MLS. And we'll also do a training on getting a listing live once you get it on the MLS and inputting all that data, which is loads of fun. But it only takes about 30 minutes for me. I'm not the quickest at it, but photos. I mean, again, in your presentation, it talks about professional photography. if it's a house that you're going to take the pictures of yourself, you don't want to tell them you're going to do professional photography if you're about to whip out your camera and do it yourself, right? So that's one thing that you'll want to kind of figure out why you're there. Just in that house we went to, $900,000 house. Obviously, I'm not going to take the pictures for that, right? And that one needed drone pictures. And I don't know how to fly drone. I'm trying to figure it out, but probably crashed into a couple of trees. So for that one, I set it up like, yeah, I'm gonna have my photographer come out and do it. Camille, that one we went to last week, it was like, yeah, the pictures on your phone are gonna be good enough for this house, right? And you just kind of have to negotiate that as you're with them. Again, these are the kind of the main steps, like getting your marketing plan, setting the price for the home, which is again super important. And we'll do a training at some point of just pricing the house, just doing comps, just pricing strategies and things like that. Same thing as the listing. I think you guys have already been through the listing agreement rev up, right?
Yeah, I think we did.
Yes, no, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So you could sign a listing agreement right now?
Yeah, we did. We did. Through it,
Gotcha, okay.
actually, now I'm remembering. Yeah,
Okay.
we went through each part of it.
Gotcha. Getting the home prepared, you know, having your client clean up, fix some small things before people come out. Again, the photography and then the web campaigns. Again, inputting the listing MLS. Again, the first time that you guys do that, you know, we'll walk you through it, hold your hand and share a screen and kind of get all that stuff done. It's not terrible. It's not too hard to do. This is kind of the whole process right here though, right? Like once you get a listing live, you're going to be negotiating the offer, right? Getting offers and, you know, hopefully they're all super high and over asking, but sometimes they're not. Sometimes you're going to have multiple offers with the same price and the only difference is the due diligence amount, or the financing amount or the closing date, right? So you need to be able to read each one of those offers and figure out why this offer may or may not be better than this other offer. And there'll be times that you might take an offer that's not the highest offer, right? But you feel like it's the best offer to get to the closing table, right? Right, Camille? And that important, make sure that you got an offer that's going to get you signatures on time. Because having one that's super high, but if that appraisal don't come back right, they're going to either back out or try to get you down 30 grand. That's not fun. That's not fun for you or your client. Getting the contract signed, getting through that due diligence period. Is everybody familiar with what needs to happen during that due diligence period? Or what the due diligence period is?
Yeah, that's like it's a set time, right? And the buyers get a chance to like get it inspected and get their lending stuff all figured out. That kind of.
What's a typical due diligence period, Brittany?
Say that one more time.
What's the typical due diligence period?
Just waiting for them to, like Justin said, get their, you know, financing together and make sure they'll be able to get to closing.
Gotcha. Oh, how long should that period be? Let's just say, I mean, today's May 16th. Say you get an offer today on your listing and closes June 16th. Well, 1 month from now, how long should that due diligence period be? Do you think maybe June 15th?
2 weeks.
2 weeks, maybe.
Yeah. I you know, this on the listing side, the shorter your due diligence period is, the better it is for you, right? Because you know sooner that contract is going to go hopefully through. You know, if you got an offer that says it closes June 16th, but the due diligence period is until June 15th, you know, that's scary to me. That means they can literally back out the day before closing, right?
Yeah.
Not ideal. So the shorter that period, the better. Market's a little crazy, so you do need a little bit of time because, you know, inspectors and appraisers can be behind. But I mean, if you can get a shorter, you know, 10 days, 14 days due diligence, that's fairly normal. But yeah, that period allows them to do their due diligence as a buyer, right? They're going to do home inspection, right? They might do a septic inspection, well inspection, they might do a termite inspection, they might do a radon inspection, the appraisal, and depending on what type of loan it is, what type of appraisal it's going to be. So there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done during that period. And during that time, even though you're not on the buying side, you need to make sure that they're doing their stuff in time, right? So a lot of times you'll figure out that they haven't scheduled their inspections on time, and now they're sending you an extension the last day of their due diligence period because they're not done yet, right? So as a listing agent, you want to make sure that you're in constant contact with the buyer's agent, make sure that they've done that stuff on time, so we don't have to extend, right?
Mhm.
Home inspection, financing. Once you get, the due diligence period and they're doing their inspections, you guys are going to have to agree on the repairs, which is always loads of fun. And you guys will definitely need help on that, negotiating that. Staying informed so you know what's going on before close, right? And Camille, I think that's part of the problem here is with some of your listings or your closings this week is like, well, last week is not everybody was on the same page with what's going on. And when that happens, instead of signing Friday morning at 9 o'clock, here we are the next week and things aren't together because not everyone was on the same page. So, and I'm not saying that was your fault. It wasn't on your side, but that's a big part of it is that communication throughout the whole process. So. And closings, final walkthroughs, and we've kind of already went through some of the pricing stuff, but this is all in the presentation, but.
And Brian, you said you're gonna send us this one and the other presentation in an email?
Yep, I'll send all that stuff to you guys. You guys have it.
All right, cool. Yeah.
That was pretty short,
Appreciate that.
sweet, and quick. Any questions that help any of you guys with that? You guys been super quiet today.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
I don't have any questions. We
Nelly,
still
when-
meeting?
When's your listing appointment?
We still meeting
Well,
tomorrow?
I'll call
at 10?
today around lunchtime to set it up. It might even be this evening.
Gotcha.
Question for you regarding the CMAs and determining the list price. I know ultimately it's up to the seller, but what reports do you rely, like what data do you compile to get to the listing price in your opinion?
Yeah, I'm very much price per square foot. It's kind of usually my strategy. But I'm
Okay.
typically gonna pull, if it's in a neighborhood, it sounds like it is.
It is.
What's sold in the last 6 months within 2 to 3 blocks in that neighborhood, in that same bedroom bathroom size.
Mhm.
That's typically what I'm gonna price mine at. I don't use a lot of other reports and actually just downloading the comps right off of the MLS. And if it's, I'll go in with a range, 150 to 155 price per square foot, right? So maybe that means the house is 4 to 425. And depending on how the house is when I get there, on where I price it at when I get there.
Okay.
And obviously, as you guys will find, every homeowner thinks their house is the nicest house in the neighborhood. And, when you have those comps of the other MLS of that's just closed, and you can show them that, this is your neighbor's house right there. You did know them? That was Steve and Bob. All right, great. This is their house. You see, they did brand new granite backsplashes. They put a hot tub in the back. Like, these are the upgrades that they had. And when you show them all that stuff and get them to realize that house was just as nice as yours, they're sold for $429 and you're thinking of selling for $475, right? So when you go to those comps and show them that this house is the exact same size, or this house is actually a little bit bigger and it's sold for this, it'll help them realize where they need to price their house. And again, in the listing presentation, when you have the 2 pricing slides, hopefully that gets them to understand that the pricing aggressively will actually end up making them more money than pricing higher.
Got another question. How
Sure.
do you handle the variances in square footage if there's a variance between the county records and the previous MLS listing?
Yeah, so that's a good question. And it happens a lot. Usually I'm gonna have someone come out and measure it, right? So
Okay.
we'll start off with what we feel is the most accurate, that the homeowner believes is the most accurate. But a lot of times before listing, you'll have time to have someone come out and measure the house. And sometimes your photographer can do that as well. So depending
Okay.
on who you use, but yeah. And then a lot of times if I'm still unsure if it gets listed before we do that, I'm gonna put in the private remarks on the MLS buyer to verify all information, including square
Okay.
footage.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Man, y'all quiet today. All right. Just to answer your question, yes. But I'll send out those details about tomorrow.
Okay, cool. Sounds perfect.
All right, guys. Well, if you don't have any more questions for me, this was fun. Nice to mix it up. And I will get you guys emailed all that information. Nothing, Kasana, I'll get your emails and I'll send those up to you as well. So thanks, guys. Have a good Monday. Get on the phones. Get to work.
Awesome. Sounds good, Brian. We'll
Thank
talk
you,
to you
Brian.
tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, Brian, before you go, can I give you a call to talk to you about one of my escrows?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'll give you a call.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Thanks, bye.